And welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Now, did you know that Randy Moss scored 54 touchdowns in 28 games at Marshall and never played a college football game where he didn't score? So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Pop Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host Christian, aka C Will.
Hola.
So, let's get down to talking about some sports. We're going to kick it off with the NBA. Of course, the playoffs are still going on. This time is the conference finals. We missed last week because we were all just so busy and we just couldn't record. So apologies for that. The conference final teams are the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors out west. And then in the east is the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Which, first off, for Boston, I did not expect them to go to the conference finals whatsoever. I thought, okay, they went on a little run. They're a fluke. But no, they're proving me wrong. Miami, I somewhat expected. I didn't expect them as much, but I'm not that surprised. Golden State was really the only pick I got right for the conference finals. And then Dallas, they surprised me a little bit, beating Phoenix. And as a matter of fact, blowing them out, making Phoenix look like frauds. I'm not surprised that Phoenix looks like frauds, but I at least thought they would get to the conference finals. Kicking it off with the out west, the Warriors are close to ending the series with the Mavericks. They were about to sweep them, but the Mavericks came back and won the last game, 119-109. This has been a series. None of the conference finals games have really been too exciting. They've all just been like blowouts. They've been exciting for maybe like a couple of quarters, and then they end up just being an absolute blowout. So, not really too much to say here.
I
will
say real quick, the Celtics, like, I didn't expect them to be in the conference finals, and I thought the Bucks would beat them. But I still find it funny that a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, the Nets are going to win the finals." I just can't believe people would think that. But then again, the Heat are really strong. I'm pulling for the Heat to beat the Celtics because I do not like the Celtics, and people that know me know that. I do not like Boston teams, but the Mavericks, I thought they were going to pull off better of a fight against the Warriors. There was a couple games that was a little bit close, but man, the Mavericks got demolished, if I'm correct, in game 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Mavericks did win last night, so they're down 3-1. But there's no team that's ever came back from 3-0 in a 7-game series, so I do not see that happening. But Luka's trying the best he can. I mean, he had 30 points last night, 14 rebounds and 9 assists, and he's been putting up great numbers. But the rest of the team has just been horrible. Everyone, I mean, they haven't been bad, but there's been some guys that just haven't stepped up. I mean, Dwight Powell, he hasn't been playing well. He had 0 last night. He didn't even shoot a field goal. And then, Dorian Finney-Smith, he's been a little solid. He had a 23-point game last night, but other than that, hasn't been doing well. Jalen Brunson's been playing great at the guard whenever he plays either a shooting guard or a point guard, whenever they put them in. But both teams, the Warriors and Mavericks, are both small ball teams. They don't have any real top players in their starting lineup, but the Mavericks, they don't play any defense. They barely play any defense. I barely see any of them get any blocks in a game. It's kind of crazy. I remember the game 1 and 2, they just kept letting Kevon Looney and Draymond Green just wide open for layups and dunks. But yeah, I wonder how game 5 is going to go. They're going back to Golden State. They're probably going to lose that, but it's unfortunate because I do not want to see the Warriors win. But it is what it is. That series is basically over. And for the Heat and Celtics, they're going to be playing in game 5 on Wednesday night. So hopefully the Heat can get it done.
Yeah, I hope the Heat get it done. It's been going back and forth. Right now, the series is tied 2-2. Like I said, not really too much to say. It's been close for like the first half, and then just one of the teams decides they're going to pull away. So I don't really know what to say about it. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been a force to be reckoned with. They've been showing that they're one of the best duos for years to come. And Miami's still fighting, so I hope Miami can pull it off. I don't want to see Boston win. And then the Warriors, listen, you can call me whatever you want. I would rather see the Warriors win than the Mavericks. I don't like the Mavericks. I like Steph Curry, and I like the Warriors team. I think that they built a great team, so I would rather see the Warriors. And I predicted the Warriors would win the championship. So I would like to see my prediction get right, even if it's the wrong teams playing.
Yeah.
In other news in the NBA, the Nets are saying that they don't want to re-sign Kyrie Irving due to his personal decision not to get vaccinated and his unpredictable injury history. First of all, the vaccine thing I'm not going to make a comment on, but the injury history, I mean, he didn't really get hurt last year, or this season, if I'm correct. I don't think.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, Kyrie does have a history of injuries, so I'm not surprised that that's one of the reasons why they won't re-sign him. I'm sure Kyrie's going to get a little upset and offended by everything, but then again, I think part of the reasons, like they said, is just I'm not going to make a whole lot of comments about the COVID thing, but it is kind of stupid that they would not re-sign him because of that. But then again, New York's New York. What else can we say? But that's just a crazy situation, and not surprising though, because Kyrie he's been going different teams over the last 5 years, so it doesn't surprise me though either.
You know, the only thing I will make a comment on with the vaccine thing is that New York got rid of that whole vaccine crap thing, so I don't know why the Nets are still upset about it, but whatever, That's their decision, and they're not doing anything, so maybe it's a good move. And then Durant might leave too, and then they'll go back to being a bottom feeder.
Now, did you see the draft lottery last week?
I did watch the draft lottery.
The first
I don't know why that played. My apologies. Yeah, Houston getting the first pick. I'm not surprised. Or wait, no, it wasn't Houston. It was Orlando. What am I saying? But yeah, Orlando getting the first pick. I'm not that surprised. They were a pretty bad team. My Wizards, they got 10th. Can't say I'm surprised with that. I mean, they always pick in the middle of the lottery, so I don't know. Not really too many surprises during the draft lottery, except for Paolo Banchero. He knew he was screwed because he saw who got the first pick. I could just see it on his face.
Well, the thing is, I don't think Paulo should be a number one pick. I don't even think he is. Did you see him get exposed in the ACC tournament and in the tournament? Dude didn't play that well. He's a freshman. He needs to have more experience. If I were him, I would have not entered this year's draft. In my opinion, I would have at least played 2 more seasons. But then again, it's Duke, and they always have freshmen that get drafted every year. But I think that Orlando definitely, it's good for them to get the number 1 selection. There's a couple teams that definitely needed the spots they had, like the Rockets and Thunder. And the Pelicans, they got a great pick, and I think they were like 8. They got like the 8th pick or something because they had they still had like part of a trade deal where they got someone else's pick, and then the Kings also were in the top 10, I think. So I think the Kings, if they draft well, I think they could definitely have a much better team next season and be in the play-in chance. I think they have a chance to play in.
Right. Also, the Thunder, they got number 2 and number 12 from the lottery with all their moves. So, I mean, they have 30 first-round picks accumulated over the next years, so many years. So,
well, it was 30. It was 30 like 2 years ago. So it's probably down a little bit, but it's definitely, they still have a good bit of picks left.
Right. I think that's smart to accumulate that, but I don't know how many of these players are going to be good or how many are going to be bust. So we'll talk about that maybe 10, 20 years time from now. See, Kings get in the top 4, number 4, and then the Rockets number 3. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the lottery makes sense. Hornets number 13, Cavaliers number 14. All right, now let's talk about the MLB. Let's see. We don't have a whole lot of news, but there is a little bit.
There is a couple things I do have written down. Do you want me to go through those, or do you want to go through yours first?
You go through it.
All right, well, we will talk about the standings, but one thing there's a couple things that caught my eye. One of them was a former American League Rookie of the Year, Kyle Lewis. He returns to the Seattle Mariners after missing a year, basically because of injuries. And it's cool to see him back. And the Mariners currently are fourth in the AL West, so they're 9 games behind Houston, but they're just below 500. They're 18-25. I think the Mariners could probably get back to 500. They did start off the season strong, but then they've lost a good bit recently. I think they can make a turnaround. Another thing, too, has been talked about recently, attendance for games. The Oakland Athletics attendance has not been that well. I don't know if you've seen this, but it was like a couple weeks ago where they literally only had like 1,000 fans for a game. It was really bad. And I mean, I sort of don't blame them either because they're 17-27 and they're on a 3-game losing streak. But Oakland right now not looking good. And another thing too, another headline that caught my eye. This one's very interesting. I'll say the least. The Yankees third baseman Josh Donaldson referred to Tim Anderson as Jackie during an argument.
Anderson didn't like this, the attempted tag and the push off by Donaldson. Then this play at second, Anderson has some words. Donaldson, yeah. And now tonight, didn't escalate, but there were more words. And Anderson said, I see you. And here we go again. Now Grandal and Donaldson, nose to nose, and the bench is empty. Well, this was heating up on a hot Saturday, and it's spilling over right now. The bullpen's emptying, running toward home plate. And being dragged away by the White Sox is Tim Anderson. But this started with Grandal and with Donaldson at home plate.
From what I heard. Now, if for those that don't know, I don't know what he meant by Jackie, but my only guess would be Jackie Robinson. So Tim Anderson addressed the situation and said he could care less about a suspension. So apparently maybe there's a suspension here. Regarding let's see here, suspension. I don't see if there's any suspension, but basically Anderson said that Donaldson charged the two had no contact, but had a hard slide had happened when Anderson slid into third during a game in Chicago last week, and then they had words with each other, and that's all I got. But that's definitely nothing. That's definitely something that could be not good to say. Especially, I think Tim Anderson. I don't know what I'm saying here, Mike. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't probably refer someone like that, especially he's not Jackie Robinson, but Tim Anderson is an African-American baseball player. And I guess I know Donaldson did get suspended for 1 game, and Anderson probably thought that he didn't care less, I guess, in a way. He says it's out of my control, so I'm cool with whatever. I could care less about the suspension. But what do you think about that?
Well, apparently, from what I was told from Cam, I was talking about it with him a couple weeks, or not a couple weeks ago, like a couple days ago. He said Tim Anderson has literally called himself Jackie Robinson. So I don't know if Josh Donaldson meant that in a racist way, but from what I heard, Tim Anderson did call himself Jackie Robinson, which is stupid because he's nowhere near Jackie Robinson. He's a great baseball player, but nowhere near Jackie Robinson. That guy is a pioneer and an amazing baseball player, period. So I don't know what to say about that. I think it's just a little over dramatic because he called himself Jackie, and I guess Josh didn't mean it in a racist way, but more trying to piss him off. So
yeah, some fans are also saying after he hit a 3-run homer in a game. But
Mhm.
yeah, that definitely is a very interesting situation, I would say the least. But another topic, Chris Bryant, who's on the Colorado Rockies, is on the IRL or IL injury list. He had a back strain, which remember how I talked about when the season started about how good the Rockies were?
Yeah.
They're last now in the West, in the NL West. They are now last. Like, what happened, Colorado? But they're now 20-22. But the NL West, to be fair, is pretty strong this year. Most of their teams are just above the 500 or just around the 500 mark. And I think the Rockies, they can get back to the 500 mark. They're 20-22, as I said. They're 9 games back with the Dodgers, but they do have a good roster. It's just injuries could definitely plague a team and could cause some problems, and especially you could lose. You could lose games because you're missing your starters. So going through a quick recap of them will be standings. The New York Yankees are on top of the American League East. Am I surprised? No. They're 13-13. They have a loaded roster. Tampa Bay is second. Toronto's third, but them two teams have been really good. And with Toronto, I'm happy to see them gaining up and going up towards the top of the division because they struggled the last 2 years and they have a solid roster. The Orioles have been pretty decent. They've won some games, but they're still last in that division. Boston's fourth, which is happy and good for me because as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I'm not a fan of Boston sports teams. But the Central, all the Central teams are not doing well in the AL Central. The Twins are the only ones above 500 with a 27-16 record. The West, I kind of mentioned this, Houston Astros on top of the AL West. NL East, my Atlanta Braves are second. They're 20-23. The Mets are on top of that division with 29-16. The Mets have definitely emerged and pulled away for now at the top of the division. They're ahead by 8 games now. Then the Central, we got the Brewers on top of that, 27-16. My St. Louis Cardinals second with 24-19. The Reds have won some games, but they're still pretty trash. No offense, Cam. They're 12-30. And then NL West, I already mentioned Dodgers on top of that. So that's just a quick recap of the MLB standings this week.
Now, I did remember there was one piece of NFL news. Apparently, the owners of the NFL are trying to count votes to see if Dan Snyder will be forced to sell the Washington Commanders. But Roger Goodell just said today, apparently, that he has not heard anything about that. So I really hope that it's true that they're trying to figure out if Snyder should sell the team. He should have sold it like 10 plus years ago, but he hasn't because the NFL is mostly about money. So I really hope he sells it. That would be so great.
Yeah.
Now moving on to the NHL.
All right, so the NHL, they're in the second round of the playoffs. First up, the Hurricanes and the Rangers in the second round of the East. The Hurricanes are currently tied with the Rangers 2-2 in this series. The Rangers won on Tuesday night 4-1. It's been a very interesting series. I've caught some highlights off of it. And I think this one's going to go 7 games. I think it's going to be a great series. But one that does surprise me in a way is the Calgary Flames in the Edmonton Oilers series. Edmonton is leading 3-1 in this series, which I didn't expect because I personally picked the Flames to win this one, and I felt like the Flames were going to win in like 6 or 5 games. But the Oilers, they do have a great roster as well, but I didn't expect the Oilers to be up 3-1. Both of these two teams have been putting up great numbers in this series and in the playoffs, but that definitely took me by surprise. Another one is the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. I thought Florida was going to win this series. I really hoped that they were going to because I do not want to see Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup Finals every year. But here we go again. Tampa Bay sweeps them. I did not expect to see that. Lightning won 4-1 in game 1, 2-1 in game 2, 5-1 in game 3, and then 2-0 in game 4. They just dominated. And if I'm correct, let me go to the stat I found. the Tampa Bay Lightning's goalkeeper, Andrei Vasilevsky, if that's how you say his name, he had 200 shots against him in this series. In the last 7 series clinching games that he's had 200 shots against him and only allowed 1 goal. That is a really impressive stat. Now, moving on to the Avalanche and the Blues series. This one is 3-1 Avalanche, and I predicted the Avalanche win the series. I think they're up 3-1. But I think that one player, Nazem Kadri had a hat trick. It was his first career playoff hat trick in a game. I think it was 2 nights ago, but they're playing Wednesday night in game number 5. So I think that Avalanche will win that one. They're at home. They're going to win that series in advance. And I already mentioned the Calgary Flames. Now, yeah, that's going to do it for the second round matchups. But I think that the Tampa Bay Lightning will probably end up going to the Stanley Cup Finals, unfortunately. But it'd be cool to see the Hurricanes, my Hurricanes in it. And I think the Avalanche right now are going to make the Stanley Cup Finals. I like the Avalanche. I follow them. I'm not a huge fan of them compared to like the Hurricanes, the Penguins, and the Flyers, but they're really fun to watch, and I hope that they can win the Stanley Cup Finals if the Hurricanes don't.
Well, definitely the Avalanche are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're going to play the Flames. Well, actually, the Flames are down 3-1 right now, so probably the Oilers. Yeah, I think the Avalanche definitely going to go, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Hurricanes went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They look pretty good, but Tampa Bay, they're strong every year. I don't want to see Tampa Bay again. It's kind of turning into the NBA where the same teams go to the finals every year. So
yeah,
let's hope that Tampa Bay doesn't make it and that Carolina can make it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So now let's get into the top 10 plays of the week. Coming in at number 10, this Tyler Hero 3 and the foul.
Team was Houston with 64. Unbelievable disparity as Hero knocks it down and the foul.
And 1. But at number 9, we got Christopher Morel's first at bat hitting a home run. You need to check this out.
3-2. That is hammered. Left field. Oh, my goodness. Why not? Got a touch first, Christopher Morel.
Oh, my. You got to be kidding me.
Wow.
In his first major league at bat, he goes yard.
He goes Waveland.
Yard.
Very impressive play. And at number 8, we got this bunt double.
See this often.
And Makata is going to bunt his way on. Sheets is going to make the turn, and he's going to try for third, and that's going to be a bunt double.
That I believe scored a run.
At number 7, we got the Washington Nationals triple play.
Key point in the ball game with the Rios. Bouncer, Franco to second. 3 maybe? Yeah! It's a triple play! A one-hopper that goes 5-4-3. And the Nats turned their first triple play since Ryan Zimmerman caught a line drive.
Finally doing something right for once in their lives. But at number 6, we got Stephen Curry finding a way to get the bucket.
By Curry.
They trap him here. Throws it blindly and gets it back for a triple. Oh, he hit it again!
Next up, we got Jeff McNeil's diving catch, one of the best outfielders in MLB.
And when you can make these kind of defensive plays, just so much the better.
Here's the clip.
And at number 4, Phillies walk-off due to an error.
Ground ball over the mounds. Waiting for it is Muncy. He booted it. 1 runner's in. Here comes Quinn to throw. Save! He scored from Phillies have won the game.
How about you?
The honest way to pick up a victory, but the Phillies will take it. They win it 4-3 here in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. I remember seeing that on Instagram. But moving on to number 3, we got Andrew Wiggins absolutely ending the life of Luka Doncic on this epic poster. Here's the video.
A kick. Wiggins still looking for his first field goal. Wiggins on the rack attack.
Yeah, suck it, Luka. In at number 2, we got this Trevor Story grand slam.
1-2 pitch. Go. There's a shot. High toward the wall, and that ball is gone. It's a grand slam. Hey, have yourself a month, Trevor Story.
My goodness.
Wow.
But better than that, at number 1 on this week's top 10 plays is Paul Goldsmith's walk-off grand slam.
2. Goldschmidt hits it out to left, and this will do it. And he does it in grand style. It's a grand slammer. A walk-off grand slam. Goldie, the walk-off grand slam.
What a ball game. We just talked about it, Dan. You play with fire, you get burned. And that.
Yes. All right. And so with that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See y'all.